What can I do for you? Be careful. Light be with you. Go with honor, friend.
Okay. Alrighty. So I'm doing one thing that I never will do when I play, because I used to get frustrated at people back in the day, especially in previous expansions. They'd level a main, and you're trying to progress, and then they'd start ults. So I started my mage, got him to 30. Always going to be my AoE cash farmer. And then the call of the Warlock was just too strong. I leveled him to 10 just to access professions, and then I needed to get him up higher to more professions. And the reality is, I haven't needed the cloth. And in enchanting, you can't send it anything because you have to do it in trade. So you can't send it to your ults, which is a bit frustrating. So I just kept leveling my Warlock, and he just flew through the levels. And before I know it, a week later, I had two level 30s. And then questing and everything like that, the major set up to AoE grind, and I just punched through the levels as the Warlock, and next thing I know, I was level 36 on the Warlock, and the mage had been sitting there, and level 30, and I thought I'll jump into dungeons and just do AoE cleave, and I started doing 15 to 25,000 XP an hour dungeon running, which is a lot better, faster than the leveling I've been doing, and each of the what is it, Scarlet Monastery, I got all the blue weapons. So the staff, which is the Warlock's got now, the hypnotic blade, or it is hypnotic blade, and the orb, which they do plus damage to spells, which is only like 20, which is ridiculous. It says up to, um, and lo and behold, by just doing those dungeon runs, and and just burning off my rested XP, I found my mage is 34. So here I am with my mage at 34, my warlock just dinged 37, and my tank warrior at 16 or 18, something like that. If I could push that all into one character, I'd probably be in my mid 40s, or maybe higher. I don't know, maybe 50. I probably should have stuck with the mage, but the call of the warlock was just too strong. Um, and I'm just getting used to what the warlock is, because the mage is just ridiculously straightforward beast, especially for dungeons and stuff. Like you're pressing buttons, you get instant damage. And the thing about the warlock is, you're dotting up things. It's a lot more involved, and each dot is a global, and it's a lot more work. Whereas a mage, you're just so more direct damage. So, but it's all good. It's all good. I'm happy to have gotten both. And the great thing about the mage is I can zip all over the place, just with the portals and things. That I can see the benefits in that already. I think also what I didn't realise is I didn't realise that the Felguard didn't come into the first patch or the starter patch to Burning Crusade. I actually thought you got the Infernal at the end of Classic. Not Infernal, sorry, the Felguard. But should have done a bit of research. Because for me, that was the being in the Undercity and seeing warlocks with Felguards walking around was just like, what the? And to me, that's what made the warlocks, the iconicness of it. And there's so many spells. I got so many curses. It's just fantastic to have all these options. And but I got to be honest, I'm a little bit jealous because I've got such abilities that can buff everyone else's damage. I've got to wait to level 40 to get something that buffs my own damage. I think it's Shadow. Curse of Elements increases fire and frost damage, or lowers resistance of animals. But I do less damage for it. So I make others look better. And I'm waiting for Shadow. So I don't know. I don't know. I think a week or so ago, Hellfire was doing tremendous amounts of damage. I seem to do limited damage. I don't know if I'm getting resisted or what. I might. I'm not gonna. What I'm trying to do at the moment is I'm coming up with a, use Rain of Fire, and I'll put Siphon Life on everything. Just got to remember to just got to remember to life tap, so I have life. And I should have siphoned life that tank, not siphon life, soul stone the tank. It probably would have been fine if the tank stayed. I didn't. I was too busy trying to stay alive and manage my own life. And I got to the end where I just had no life and I wasn't doing any DPS because I was just keeping myself alive. Oh shit. Oh, who the fuck keeps silencing me? I haven't got. I can do a greater soul stone or better soul stone. I just didn't expect him to use it instantly. I think there's a cooldown now of a fair while. I've got a lot. I'm going to run through my add-ons as later on as well. Oh, dumb mother. That was my fault. I knew if I stood there typing it was going to come.
Good day to you. Hey there. Safe travels.
Need help? Light bless you.
Okay. What is the strategy here? Conserve mana. That laughing is just to let me know that they're fear resistant. life tapping to save my life, to cipher life, I should say. We got this. What? Well, that sucks. 3, 3, 3, 3. Which ones are both more? Well, that can't be, can it? Is that it? Thank you, little Rockman.
Soon, the Scourge will rule the world.
Ooh. 5 intel. I'm gonna say no. I'd rather have some int scam. Jeez, I tell you what, when you got 3,000 mana and you're using the older life. The thing about doing the dungeons, the XP's decent, and but you don't notice the time. Like you can, basically clearing a dungeon feels like an epic adventure. Now I've seen some guides suggest that running around in stamina, spirit gear, but you compromise int, intelligence, and your mana pools to. Look at my threats. So was my imp even having a go? I have just chunked through. I had 60 of each food and water, but they were low level food and water. Trump, wow. And he's a warlock. Now the threat I'm pulling is not a good sign. Whew. Come on. Gained about 35%. Finished off my last level, and we're about, what, quarter of the way in? Yeah. We're very close to the 40% we've made in this one run. I still host a evil. What's this? I gotta kill that and kill the ambassador. As expected. Oh, jeez. All right. Oh, let me just testing 1 2 1 2 testing 1 2. Jeez. All right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? So this is live streaming straight to YouTube. I usually do it on Twitch and then export it across. Whether that's illegal or not, I don't know. Now, I just we've got a new place, moved in, I sort of settled in, got my home office set up, and set up my man cave, and so I'm not sure if this is echoing. I've got effectively a whole shed to myself. I love it. You move into a house twice the size, effectively one extra room, but 2 lounges. It's effectively the property we had before that owned, and that was subdivided. So the builder had 15A. We were in 15A. Well, partner was, and they basically took effectively a lot which you fitted one house on, which had an ample front, backyard, and side room. They squeezed on 2 houses with just enough to walk down the sides and give you a buffer at the back and buffer at the front with no fence, maximising their money. I've seen that the ex-fiance back in the day, her family was in property development, and the house next door to them, their mother had bought this house back in 2000. So when she divorced her husband, my ex-partner's father, he was a property developer. She bought it for about 100 grand Australian. It was a rundown 3-bedroom shack. Nothing, I wouldn't even look at it personally. But she took what she learned. She was a Polish immigrant to Australia, and she was 40 years old. And she got in and worked with her husband over the last 20 years, raising 4 daughters. 5, they lost one, unfortunately. 4 daughters, and the eldest one I was engaged to at the time. And what she did is yeah, so her mother bought this, and it was a big block of land in sort of southern Brisbane area. Anyway, this is 2000, so this is 3 years before Australia's big property boom, because I was late 90s, 99, 90s, and all that sort of stuff. Australian property just took off. My partner, ex-fiancée, was in real estate, as you can mention. She was a real estate sales. Family was property developers. Yeah, so her mother was 40 years old, still didn't speak the. She spoke conversational English. She, even in her 60 or 50, mid 50s, mid 60s, she was still. Well, oh, wait. Yeah, anyway, so she had learned off her partner, who was a Polish immigrant as well to Australia. Anyway, long story short, both of them had just taken the balls with a run, and I think it was me. And he got into property development by, I think, just working in odd jobs, and he bought a house, and it surged up in price, and then he sold it for double what he paid for it in a short space of time, and he took that money and he invested in some land, and then he got lucky because he bought a block of land that hadn't really moved up in value, and he got a huge chunk of it. He took all the, I'm not going to talk exact dollars how much he spent, but he wasn't a millionaire, but it was a sizable amount of money. And he then through learning and asking questions subdivided 4 blocks, and basically as the market turned, he took each of those 4 blocks, he basically sold at the price he paid for the whole entire block. So he split them up into 4, like buying a pie for $1, and then he split the pie up, and he sold each part for $1 each. Oh, sorry, for $1 each. So you turn that $1 pie into $4, which is just timing, surge in the pricing, the housing boom, bubble, whatever you want to refer to it as, and yada yada yada. Anyway, my ex-mother-in-law. She bought this 3-bedroom home, put about 100 grand on it. I saw the photos. I wouldn't even looked at it, but it was a big block of land. And what she did is then over the next, say, 5 to 8 years, she then 5 years, I guess. What she learnt was increasing the value of the property was the house above was fixable. It wasn't pretty. She fixed it up to a certain state, raised it up, creating a 2-story home, and suddenly turning a 3-bedroom shack into a 6 to 7-bedroom house. And then she built 3 rooms and two showers downstairs, and had what she had upstairs, and she made it independent from the bottom and the top. And she lived right next to a hospital and a university, and she had a big shed at the back, and so effectively she was able to rent out the rooms at upwards of $200 a week. Maximum she was going to get from, and she had a kitchen and 2 bathrooms downstairs. That cost her another, say, all up, buying the house for 100 grand. I think it was 100, actually 110, and then she probably spent equivalent, probably around 200 to 250 in total to get the house from that point to there. Of course, that money was the money she got from the divorce from her ex-husband, who was he led on the job property development, and she's still, as far as I'm aware, still sitting on that property. And I think the last I was aware, oh shit.
I'm dead, and I'm pissed.
Okay. No, I don't get a soul sign of that. Yeah, so that house is, I think it is 450, 550 or higher, and the property beside it was, well, pretty old home, and a developer bought it, and he did the same thing that we just moved out of. He split it and put two houses on the one block, and so you had very little side room, even narrow between the two houses. You had a little bit of a backyard, a little bit of a front yard, and just enough. And the houses are big and long, and they were quite. You're getting bang for buck in the cost in the size of your house, but the land, you won't get much land. And the thing is, what goes up in value is the land, and it depends on your block, how big your block is. The bigger your block is. Okay. Do that. Drop that. I'm not trying to top the DPS charts. I'll just manage my. Wow, can I imagine if that was. Well, I've got some decent shoulders anyway. How do they look? Okay. Yeah, so her house would be worth, oh, 450 to 5, probably, well, might be as high as 600k by now. But the thing is, she rent that out, but she hasn't been too aggressive because she's got all the daughters basically going to come in and stay in and live with her more often than not. So I think she's, more about family than anything else. And she had a younger daughter too, so she had a child at 40. So the other daughters are quite older than the youngest. Why can't I shoot? That's bizarre. Well, that didn't use much of my mana, and okay. Are you serious? Now, the other side of property development is that the ex-husband, he got a bit greedy. He still kept two of those large blocks of land or more, I think, or he bought more and subdivided it. So he discovered a cash cow, but you needed money and resources and experience and knowledge to take advantage of it. He was in the right spot at the right time. He travelled from, he left Poland, came out as a basic glorified shit kicker labourer, and within 10 years he was property developing. And But that was his downfall, because in the end he got to 60s and he was building a $3.5 million mansion that he was going to flog off a million or two. And unfortunately, what happened next is had a heart attack. And got wiped out basically because he couldn't finish completion, and the bank basically walked in and took everything and left him with a nice bit of so a daughter that I ended up becoming engaged with and going out with was very hardcore real estate again. Like every second was trying to make me buy this and buy that and do it up, and I said to her, yeah, not a drama. I said, I'll get the, you needed a 10% deposit in the current market, or at least 5%. And I said, well, I've got that money. Well, I won't get into how much I got, but buying the property is one thing, then having the cash flow to do it up is the next. So what we'll do is we'll just Star Steves. Oh, okay.
Inventory is full.
What have we filled up on? Alright. Why can't I get rid of that? Is it a quest or something? Oh, I think I know what's happening here. Oh, dear. Yeah. Yeah, so real estate you can win, you can lose. And always I used to argue with ex-partner, ex-fiance, was that just because something's valued at something, it's only worth what you can get it when you need it. That one little dot. Yep, that one little dot. Yeah, so you could have, and there's plenty of people like that. They've owned. There's people I know who mortgage themselves, or they get a loan on a bank on the maximum because they've gone to a mortgage broker here in Australia, and a mortgage broker happened to my sister, happened to my brother. They're looking at buying a house at a certain price range. The mortgage broker gets a commission and a trailing commission for the loan, so they want you to, the bigger the loan, it's like selling a house. Commission's based on the number. If the number's bigger, you earn more money. And so I think they try to give them like loans 40% more than what they could really afford and what they were after. And now I'll show you something here. I took fell concentration over instead of pumping up my improved life drain, because this is 56 chance to avoid interruptions. Next rank's 70%. There's no point if I can suck a lot of life in a short space of time, then it doesn't matter if I get interrupted. But what I find leveling and stuff is that when you need it, you're getting interrupted. So I'd rather be in a case where I've got a high chance of not getting interrupted and still sucking life. Yes, so my expert team wanted me to all these housing projects. I remember she took me to this property. Again, we're not going to talk prices, and it was a very old property that had been knocked off by $100,000 or more actually. It was old. She was really into high ceilings, and it had a very bad flow. Like it was just I could tell you, but it'd be easy. But pictures would tell 1,000 words, sort of thing. And I got the price point, so literally I said, look, let me look what's in the area, because I'm get at what you're trying to do. And for basically the same cost, I found a 2-story, big yard, fenced off, undercover, 2 car parks. Everything was brand new. Um, dishwasher, sinks, taps, showers. Everything was brand new, shiny silver. Chrome, whatever. It was good, and it was the same price of that, and wanted to buy it, and then cost a fair amount to do up. I'm draining life without any. Yeah, so the first place was a lot older, and bad spot in the street, worst house in the street, of an expensive street. This one, the second house, was basically across from the water. Not what I call the best suburb in Brisbane on the water, because it's all around mangroves and stuff. But it was freshly renovated, 2-story, big yard, parked 2 cars. We could have 2 dogs in there easy. This other place was going to be a huge mess. It was a bad flow. And the only issue I would say about the other house, the second house, was that might be a little bit, I don't know. It was a not. It had a lot of nice stuff in it, so it was a house that was foolish. But it was one of those turnkey properties. Effectively, walk in, park the cars, put your clothes in. Wouldn't even need any furniture. Could get rid of it all. It's all fully furnished, and you had all this beautiful place, great to entertain. The other place, it looked like we were run down, poor, broken place. Had in that my ex fiance's eyes, what the hell? Had massive potential, but it's a 44. Oh, I'm out of it. But you'd have to spend sizable amount of money. We're talking 50 to 100k or more. And when I said, look, that's what to get this place. No, so she came and saw the place, and I just realised there was no logic in her choice, because all she wanted to do was buy and do something up, and I just told her, you can't. I can't see us making any money on this property. It's old. It's out of the way. I said, it'll be 10 years before we see any return, and yeah. Well, lucky I didn't do it, because then ended up breaking up. but that's half the reason, is the obsession with real estate and spending my money. But there's no problem spending my money, but it's got to make sense. But anyway, that's God, we've gone down a hole. Jeez, how do I get onto this sort of conversation? But no, but that's the thing about. Oh, that's right, because we've moved into a new place ourselves. We. I nearly died then. Yeah, so that's right, because we've just got a new place, moved in, and it's very nice. Big improvement over my current partner's place. I got rid of a unit, and then took a while to find this place, and here we are, and it's a little bit luxurious, but anyway. But I tell you what, I wish I'd bought a property. I didn't go travelling and spend all my money on a shitty little apartment in Brisbane, in Sydney, because those things have gone up by 300-400%. Friend bought a 2-bedroom apartment in Randwick for 453k in 2003-4, and I remember them saying that it felt like a noose around the neck. Now this apartment was nothing special about it. There was nothing special about this apartment. 2 bedrooms. It was modest. Honestly, you wouldn't believe it. If I took people from where I'm originally from and showed them this property, they would have gone, what? but it was location. It was in Randwick. It was the eastern suburbs of Sydney. It's close to Bondi, Coogee. 5 minutes from that person's work. Those type of things. And I don't want that, do I? Holy bejesus. And I got fear protection. Oh dear. Nice. What level are you guys? What level are these mobs? Ah, these last tailor mobs are massive. Level 40. 3 levels. So the difference from retail as well are your pets. Are dead. Pets die a lot easier. I can see why you just gotta build a sacrifice pet build because they just suck. Ow. So anyway, getting back to that friend down in Sydney, they bought it for 453. I think they initially started at 420, and the negotiation went up to 453 by the time they settled. It took a month and a half or 2 months to finally get the done. And I remember them telling me for the next year, a couple of years, that they felt like it was a noose around their neck, and basically lived in one room, rented out the other room, and I was like, oh wow, that's. And that's what's trying to happen. Anyway, I think that property now is worth over 600, 650, and it might be more if they've done it up. Oh my lord. Stone Falcon doesn't get a lot of... I cast, I go... Stop attacking my pets.
Trance.
2 seconds each. Yeah, and that property's, yeah, might be even worth more than that now. But and it also depends on what they've actually done with. They still own it, far as I'm aware. But it's the eastern suburbs of inner eastern suburbs of Sydney, which is where everyone wants to live, basically. It was packed when I was down there years ago, and I can only imagine the price of everything. But there'd be competition from new apartments and stuff, because it's an apartment. You have to make it look good and do it up, and so because like any real estate agent will tell you, like I think selling houses in Australia, there was a house just up for sale, and obviously the agent is, you know, the owners of this really run-down house want the maximum price for their property, and of course the agent says, yes, we can do that for you, because they want the listing. But when you go look at what's available at the same price, it's not realistic at all. 41. Okay, put that on. Holy shit, that...
Shadow trance.
What did he get? That's the way it goes. Forgot there was another. God, he was smashing me good. Ronald back, we've got an outside quest to finish off, possibly 2. Yeah. So, yeah, so, yeah. But that's the thing, the price in Sydney's just gone. It was costing me a fortune to live down there years ago, and God. But, you know, it's horses for courses, so. But I had a relative. She was working in okay, she's working in for law firms, working in law, and she was living in Adelaide, which is cheaper, probably one of the lowest cost capital cities to live in, because there's only government work there on average. Blah 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 blah. Most people go elsewhere, which obviously my relative got to a certain age and decided that's it, moved out, highly qualified, got the opportunity in Sydney, earning considerably more money than they were on. They were comparing it to what they were doing in Adelaide. You know, earning that money in Adelaide meant, you know, you're in the big time. Moved to Sydney, and after living there for 12 months, she realised that even though she got quite a large pay rise by accepting the offer within the firm that she was working for, the reality is it was less, because the cost of living in Sydney was far more. The cost to I think she was renting at the time, to rent, food, and there's just a lot more on, which you don't have to spend money on, but there was a lot more on. So she said she probably needed another 10 to 15k to get her back to the level that she was in Adelaide, because when she was living in Adelaide, she could go out and enjoy a lot of things. Of course, she said there wasn't the same events and things on in Adelaide, because Adelaide, you know, is a population of 1 million people, give or take, and Sydney is upwards of 5 million, and it's not our capital, Canberra is, but it's, you got Sydney and Melbourne, so in between Sydney and Melbourne is Canberra, which is the capital, kind of like Ottawa in Canada, where it's in between Toronto and Quebec City. It's very similar, both Commonwealth countries. So, because we're going to almost have a war over Sydney and Melbourne is going to be the capital, sort of tongue-in-cheek. And anyway, long story short, Sydney's where it's at if you've got the resources. But then I've seen on the news someone earning 300 grand a year as a lawyer can't make ends meet. Bear with me, I'll be right back. We need to...
Man, game over, man. It's game over.
Wants to live forever!
Stop the run.
Victory. I'm on a quest. Right every single wrong. Right every wrong. I'm a total freaking rust out from Mars. Come on, bro.
Nightmares creep while you and me repeat. This bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire.
Conception about what I am, what I do. I am a paladin. That is true. But as a paladin, I don't fear falling. I look forward to it.
Prepare for battle. Man, game over, man. It's game over.
Wants to live forever.
Stop the run.
They picked the fight with a war. Absolute victory. And I'm on a quest. Right every single wrong. Right every wrong. I'm the total freaking rust out from Mars. Baby, come on, bro. Back of blood.
Nightmares creep while you and me repeat. This bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire.
Conception about what I am, what I do. I am a paladin. That is true. But as a paladin, I don't fear falling. I look forward to it.
Prepare for battle.
Back of blood. How you like me now? 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 How you like me now?
Oh, that was a mistake.
Glad you could make it, Uther.
Watch your tone with me, boy. You may be the prince, but I'm still your superior as a paladin.
This city will be cleansed. Forget. Listen, Uther. There's something about the plague you should know. Oh no. We're too late. These people have all been infected. They may look fine now, but it's just a matter of time before they turn into the undead.
What?
This entire city must be purged.
How can you even consider that? There's got to be some other way.
Damn it, Uther. As your future king, I order you to purge this city!
You are not my king yet, boy. Nor would I obey that command even if you were.
Then I must consider this an act of treason.
Treason? Have you lost your mind, Arthas?
Have I? Lord Uther, by my right of succession and the sovereignty of my crown, I hereby relieve you of your command and suspend your paladins from service.
Arthas, you can't just...
It's done! Those of you who have the will to save this land, follow me! The rest of you, get out of my sight!
You've just crossed a terrible threshold, Arthas.
Jaina?
I'm sorry, Arthas. I can't watch you do this.
And then another.
Uther.
Watch your tone with me, boy. You may be the prince, but I'm still your superior as a paladin.
This city will
As
be
if I could
cleansed.
forget.
Listen, Uther. There's something about the plague you should know. Oh no. We're too late. These people have all been infected. They may look fine now, but it's just a matter of time before they turn into the undead.
What?
This entire city must be purged.
How can you even consider that? There's got to be some other way.
Damn it, Uther. As your future king, I order you to purge this city!
You are not my king yet, boy. Nor would I obey that command even if you were.
Then I must consider this an act of treason.
Treason? Have you lost your mind, Arthas?
Have I? Lord Uther, by my right of succession and the sovereignty of my crown, I hereby relieve you of your command and suspend your paladins from service.
Arthas, you can't just...
It's done! Those of you who have the will to save this land, follow me! The rest of you, get out of my sight!
You've just crossed a terrible threshold, Arthas.
Jaina?
I'm sorry, Arthas. I can't watch you do this.
Glad you could make it, Uther.
Watch your tone with me, boy. You may be the prince, but I'm still your superior as a paladin.
This city will
As
be
if I could
cleansed.
forget.
Listen, Uther. There's something about the plague you should know.
So we just knocked off our Razorfen Dan with RFD. We all died, well, a couple of us died. I was one of the three. Got focused on. And we're going to have to fight our way out. And I need it for the quest anyway, so... What the fuck? Fishing. Yes, I love fishing. I do actually. Look, I close my eyes. I move my fingers like that. Oops. I'll probably need an idiot to be knocked for me. Zangagor, please help. Okay. Okay, this is going to take a lot more than I realised. I hope this is the way out. Oh my god. Oh, I ran back into it. Okay. I'll just do this. Why am I health-ing? I don't know. I just realised it's going to take forever. Let me know in the comments, which ground clutter? I reckon too much is... it's too much. I'll keep that one. So, alright, seeing how I lost life and stuff, I've got 10 minutes to 9 minutes to burn. I'm going to go back to Orgrimmar, see if I can upgrade my pet at all, and then we'll go back and see if we can finish some of those outside quests. well, I'll come back. I'll let you guys go, and I'll come back once we've got everything cleaned up. As I said, I'm just going to do some outside quests. So, no point me putting you through me getting skills and stuff. So, stream you later.